Hello YouTube. We're sitting in the JARdesign A330 Airbus at Dublin Airport in Ireland, EIDW, and we're just going to show you how I set the aircraft up for a short flight to Birmingham. We're starting up from cold and dark, and as you will see, it's a nice easy aircraft to set up. It may not be the proper way, this is the way I do it, and it doesn't take too long to set this aircraft up from cold and dark. It's quite easy to do. So here we go. We go up to the plugins menu, down to A330 ground equipment, and we'll call the ground equipment, and this will put some vehicles in place to load the aircraft up with food and stuff for the passengers. Keep them quiet. There we go. And also the stairs will connect to the doors so we can get some people on board. While that's all happening, we'll go back into the cockpit. That box down there is for the fuel. We'll have a look at that in a minute or two. Now we've got some ground power available. There we go. So we'll switch those on, get some power into the aircraft, turn these knobs, otherwise we'll get the cabin crew shouting at us it's too hot or too cold. And we'll put some batteries on. There we go, there's the batteries, and the nav lights on to tell people we've got some energy to the aircraft. You might hear some noises in the background. That's the cabin attendants announcements. You can turn those off in the menu in the FMC, but we'll have a look at that a little bit later. Okay, so we've got some power to the aircraft. We'll align the IRSs up. There we go, and then we'll have a look in the FMC and pop a little flight plan in. Now we're at, as I say, we're at Dublin, EIDW. I put this flight plan in earlier, saved it just to save a bit of time, and its destination will be EGBB, Birmingham in the United Kingdom. There we go, it's gone in there. Line IRSs, and we'll just get rid of that little note at the bottom. Flight number, I don't know, we'll put 12 in there, and cost index of, we'll use 80, and the cruise flight level will probably be what, 210. That'll do us. Okay, 210, and 0 fuel weight on the block fuel. Now we've got 13.6 in there, and if we go back to the flight plan, you will see it's quite a lot more than we need. There is a bit of a problem with this aircraft. I don't think the fuel's been sorted properly, because if we don't put enough in, you get an error here. This fuel quantity, the tick that's by there now on the checklist, it doesn't tick the fuel for some reason, so we have to put extra fuel in, more than we need, a lot more than we need. So there we go, we'll have a look at there might be an update for that coming out in the near future. Okay, so we can get rid of the fuel truck. Just go down to the plugins menu and fuel, and wait, remove the fuel truck. There we go. Okay, back into the FMC for a second, MCDU, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. And we'll look at the flight plan now. There is little gadgets on here which will tell you the direction of the winds at Dublin. It's 170 degrees at 11 knots. So we'll use 16, runway 16. How's that for the departure? The first waypoint, incidentally, is Dexon. So if we go to departure, runway 16, we need a SID to match that Dexon, and there's one now, Dexter 1M. We'll use that. There we go. No transition today. And we'll insert that temporary into the flight plan. Okay. We'll just scroll down to see if there's any discontinues in there. And there is one there, as you can see. So we'll just I'll just clear that. Just zoom out a little bit. There we go. Clear. There we go, and we'll say yeah, we'll accept that. We won't put an arrival star in just yet. We'll just leave it at that. We're just going to set this aircraft up just to the taxi point, just for purposes of showing you how we set the aircraft up. Okay. While we're down there, we'll switch the radios on. There we go. We'll put the weather on right now. Okay. So we've got a flight plan in there. We've got. We'll go back to that, and we'll set the. We'll go to the performance page. Now we need to go back up to the plugins menu, ground equipment. Number here, which is trim, takeoff trim number 2.8. So we can put. We're going to use flaps 2, so it's 2 stroke up 2.8, and we'll put that in there. Okay. We use a flex temperature of 50. I usually put 15, something like that. Click the wrong one there. Let's get rid of that second. F50 goes in that one there. There we go. Transition will be 5,000 feet today, and we can V1, VR and V2. Okay, that's the V speeds in there, so we can go back to that now. Right, so that's the flight plan in there. Okay, so we'll put the wing lights on. We've got the seat belts on and no smoking. Controls can go on there. Just have a look at the side there, the checklist. The bino reference isn't set, we'll do that in a second. The windows and doors, beacon will go on just before we start the engines. So we'll ask the cabin crew to close the doors. I just thought we don't need to do that. What we'll do, whoops, switch the APU on first, then we can get rid of the ground equipment. There we go, let's pop the APU on. If you don't put the APU on and you remove the ground equipment, it will go cold and dark again. So I need to get the APU up and running. And if we have a look here, you can see what's happening with the APU. Just get rid of this little message at the bottom there for the frames. A330 settings. Oop. I prefer the A320 menu, which was on the side. This one's very tiny. There we go. That just removes that message. We've got the APU running online there, so we can now remove the ground equipment. There we go, removing the ground equipment. Now there is a little panel down here where if you click on that button there, flight attendant,
passengers complains wet in the cabin too cold.
It's too cold.
I ask you to increase the temperature.
So that's that one there. It's a bit too cold. We've got to keep the passengers happy. We'll increase the temperature a little bit and tell the cabin crew we've turned the temperature up a tiny touch there. We can have a look at the doors. There's a little button down there. Click that. And as you can see, all the doors are closed. So we're okay to go. What we'll do now is we'll go up to plugins menu. That's the cabin crew telling us that the doors are closed, I think.
The doors are armed.
There we go. Okay. Now, so we can now call a pushback truck, ground services, pushback, call pushback battalion. This little thing pops up in the corner there, tells you where the truck is and what he's doing. Okay, whilst we're doing that, we'll just set the QNH, which is let's have a look now, 1005 at doubling. 1005. There we go. And while we're at it, we'll just put the initial altitude of 5,000 feet. And we have a look at the checklist now. We've got all the ticks in the right places. We haven't got the tick at the beacon because we've not yet started the engines. We'll put the beacon on when we're about to start the engines. We do need to pop some fuel pumps on. There we go. That little noise they heard there is the ground crew asking, are we ready for pushback? So we click on that button there.
To cockpit. Tow is connected. Awaiting your instructions.
We have to confirm it, get him to confirm that all the ground equipment's clear.
ATC clearance for push and start. Please confirm. All ground equipment and services clear.
Ground equipment and jetty clear. Doors closed and steering pan in position. Set park brake to release, please. Park brake off.
Brakes released. Clear to push.
Copy. Brakes off. Clear to push. Pushback starting.
And there we
You
go.
may start engine, sir.
And we can start the engine. So what we can do is we can pop the APU bleed on there, the beacon on because we're going to start the engine. We can stick the strobe onto auto, and we can start the pushback. Click that bottom button there, and it will start pushing backwards, as you can see. Put the starter on, and we'll start engine 2.
Starting engine 2.
There we go. Should see some movement here in a minute or two. Don't really can hear the engine spooling up, but there is some spool up noise there. There we go. Now we're going to get the aircraft to turn. Turn to the left. Now when you initially press it, you'll think it's going the wrong way. It's not. It's the way the truck is positioning itself on the nose of the aircraft, and we're turning in the right direction now. Okay, we can start engine 1.
Starting engine 1.
Fuel to engine 1. There we go. This scenery is freeware scenery off the org. It's absolutely brilliant. Doubling. Okay, there. That'll do for the push. We can click in the middle there.
Pushback complete. Please set park brake to on.
Before start checklist.
Set the park brake to on.
Brake on.
Brakes set. You may disconnect the tow.
There we
After
go.
start checklist completed.
Okay.
Bypass pin have been removed. Tow is disconnected. Have a good flight, sir.
Thank you very much. Now, okay. If we look on the ECAS screen here, we need to arm the spoilers. I've got a little
Spoilers
button
armed.
on the joystick which does that. We need to set the flaps to take off, which was flaps 2.
Flaps 1. Flaps 2.
Flaps 2 down there. And set the brakes to max. And there we go. We've got no blues on there, so we're good to go. Okay, let's just have a look on the overhead here. Now, as you know, with the Airbus, if you've got no lights on, that's great. If you've got lights on, there's a problem somewhere. You need to have a look and switch it off or on or whatever. Yeah. Now, the APU is still running there. We'll leave that running. We can turn that off in a bit. Switch to taxi mode, lights on, and then we're good to go. So, I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a video. Having a look at the A330, it's a cracking aircraft. It's got a few little niggly problems, but all in all, it's a great plane. And if you've got the A320, you'll love this aircraft. It's very similar, but a nice little few little add-ons, and it's going to get better. Thanks for watching, and see you again.